Schlexy Schlex, what's poppin', dog?
That it. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 2 of the Opposites Attract podcast. I'm your co-host, Schlex.
And I'm your co-host, Southwest Bully, the one and only. Don't you forget it.
Don't play with him.
Don't play with me.
Welcome back. So we are in Episode 2. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is
We're just
exciting.
so happy to be back. I will probably say that till we get to Season 3.
Yeah, 100%.
And there will not be a big, long break between
No,
season
because
2
now
and
we
season
know
3.
this is
our
destiny. This
full-time
is what we're
job.
doing full time.
Because what do you always say? God blessed us with our voice before he blessed us with our body.
100%.
Per.
And one episode, you kind of tried to like dumb that down, but it's all good.
Really?
Yeah, you were like, well, actually, I don't know, right? You just said
Should
something.
correct him, and I was wrong.
Yeah, you were truly wrong.
Cut that.
Profoundly wrong.
Okay, well, anyway, welcome back.
Yeah.
Our last episode, we chatted. It was a lot to do about me in the last episode. which
100%.
I'm not mad about. But today we're going to put the spotlight on our good friend, Jean-Paul over here.
Jean-Paul pulling out the
Southwest
gummy.
Bully, the one and only. That's
Yeah.
who the spotlight's going to be on today.
100%.
And I've got a bunch of questions for him that actually stemmed from last episode.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't get a chance to get into it because I just talked my little face off.
Oh,
in
that
the
was
last
perfect.
episode.
We wanted
No,
that.
it was good.
Yeah.
Because I got to go into detail. I got to talk my ish. I got to say everything I wanted to say. And then today, it's going to be about Jay. So a lot of the questions, if you didn't see last episode, it was a lot to do about being in and fostering and caring for and nurturing a healthy and harmonious interracial relationship. So Jay was asking me a lot of questions about my experience with my boyfriend, Mehdi. But today, I had wanted to twist the chair, and I wanted to ask Jay a lot of questions about being the father to interracial children, interracial parenting, and just the struggles kind of that he's faced. So I guess we can run it back to the beginning. I kind of want to do it a little bit structured in my brain, the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit timeline-wise, and from before you had kids up until until
what is
today.
it? What is the
The
transition?
struggles that you've gone through and whatever as we go through. So running it back, before having your first kid, did you think growing up, before having any kids, first off, did you want kids?
Oh, I knew at 14.
Okay.
My sister always tells me, she's like, one thing about you that I
You were
know,
gonna be a dad.
you always knew you were going to be a dad. So for you, anything that comes to the surface that you have to handle revolving your kids, you don't hesitate because you know this is what you wanted.
Right.
There's a lot of parents that end up being parents because they're like, oh, I'm not going to have an abortion, or, I wanted to keep this guy around.
Yeah.
So then after what happens
For
is
the wrong
that
reasons.
for the wrong reasons, and then what happens, you see it in their parenting.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to point fingers or call no names, but you see it
Yeah.
in their parenting where it's like, that's not what they truly wanted. And it sucks because, yeah, it's projected in their parenting. So for me, it's like, nah, this is what I do. This is
How
what I wanted.
many kids were you and your family, by the way?
We were 4 kids. So I got 3 sisters.
So long about it.
Yeah, I
I
got...
was like,
No, because you know how dysfunctional my family is? I'm like, where's...
who counts as in? Who
I
counts
think
as
one
out?
is still alive. Like, I don't know.
Oh.
But I got 3 sisters, and I'm the only boy.
Okay.
The youngest.
And I was about to say, because you're the youngest. And do you find, we can get into this more, but kind of yes or no, do you find that the way that you were raised and you grew up affected the way you parent your kids a little bit? Or because of they did it some way, you did it a different way? Or because you liked the things that you did it the same way?
No, it motivated me to treat my kids completely different. You know how, like, you'll have that storyline, and I think you've heard it before. It's like the dad's an alcoholic, and there's 2 brothers. One brother decides to become a lawyer. The other one becomes an alcoholic. So it's like, it's kind of the same scenario. It was like my parents were very toxic, abusive. It was a very toxic environment, a very sad and dark environment. And I decided to like, nah, I'm going to do the
Like a
work.
mission of yours, I
Yeah,
guess, to
like you
do-
could
to
even
not
see it on
let-
my
yeah.
social media. I portray a lot of inner work and like, yo, as a man, keep your body healthy. Stay away from indulging into foods and having no control on your food intake or your consumption of substances, whether it's alcohol, weed, whatever. I'm really big on that because my dad was an alcoholic. He smoked cigarettes. He ate all day long. He would literally beat my mom if she wouldn't cook food. So growing up, it was just like, you know what? I don't want to be like that. I won't say that at the end of the day, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. You will have certain things.
You have your indulgences. You have
Not indulgences. I just mean like, you know, I realized at one point that there's certain characteristics that are similar to like one of the toxic parents. But the thing that's beautiful about today's parenting is that I think a lot of people are self-aware and they're able to catch that. They introspect. I read a lot of self-help books and growth books and whatever. So I'm able to see like, oh my God, this stems from my childhood. I need to stop this now.
But you're very a self-aware person and you're willing to put in the work,
yeah, 100%.
Which is amazing. Yeah. Because I like that you said, I think a lot of people do this, but I'm sure like you're thinking in your circle because you surround yourself with the proper people and the proper parents that you want your kids to hang around with their kids perhaps.
100%.
But the things I see online, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like these parents sometimes out there, I'm not even a parent, so I feel like it's gonna be hard for me to speak on parents today, to make comments about it. But I'm just like, how? Just even as a human, not even as a parent, but how are you so like unaware?
No, but that's
right?
it.
And it's because you actively put in the work.
I actively put in the work, and I'm not. But
that's
done.
just you as a person. You'll put in the work for you, your children, your friends,
by
your
any
family,
means necessary.
You,
so by any means necessary. So yeah.
I think that's important to know. It's just as we go through this, it's that you are willing to put in the work, and it's like not everyone is. So what you've come out of, and also you've had to work double as hard, because if you come from a good family, then it's just easy to just
it's second nature,
replicating what I grew up with.
Yeah.
But now, as someone who came from a family, perhaps like you said, who's toxic or abusive, there's multiple levels, multiple steps. As a human and also as a parent, there's the two sides to it. But okay, let me unlearn all that stuff, realize that wasn't okay, heal from it, and then relearn new techniques, new tactics, new practices to teach my own kids. So, because I'm raising the next generation, like that's 100%. So much responsibility. That's why I'm scared to have kids. I'm like, for many reasons, I'm scared of childbirth. I'm scared of a lot of things. Yeah,
I think you should only be worried about that because Steve, as a man, like I called your father for fatherly advice, so I think you don't have to worry about that. But there's a lot of people that next generation. Yeah, there's a lot of like, I don't know, like, but there's just a lot of people that are not aware that because it's ugly work you have to do. Yeah. Like the nights that I was at home and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm crying and I'm pissed and I want to break everything around me because I'm like, how did I not see this? Right. And then it's like, okay, I got to do better. And then you got this
for you, sorry? Or?
Yeah, see this for yourself. Like, let's say I'm example. What's the best example I could give you? You know, my parents grew up always telling me, you can't have this, you can't have that, whatever. We don't have enough money, no. And then I don't say that to my kids, but let's say I'm annoyed and I don't want to be in the store too long. And I know if we go to like the dollar store or like Toys R Us, like they see some, Dad, can I have this? Can I have that? And I'm like, no, you can't have it. Yeah. But just the fact of saying, no, you cannot have it is creating something in their subconscious mind where that little 2-3-year-old is growing up and now thinking that like, oh, I'm not able to get anything I want in life. I don't have the capabilities and just that willpower to attain anything. And we preach about manifestation, but then we're teaching our kids to not manifest in a sense. You know what I mean? So it's like little things like that, or like I remember my daughter was she wanted like a muffin or something, but she already got 2. And there's more. And then she's like, Daddy, I want another one. I'm like, no, Summer, you can't have everything you want. But that was horrible to say that. And I had to catch myself and be like, and then pull her in the corner and be like, baby, I don't mean it that way. You can achieve and have everything you want in life.
Ask you what you're supposed to say.
Exactly. You have to talk to them like adults. Yeah. Like you see it in my videos. I really talk to my kids like they're
So then even so just for me right now, honestly, but what if she does ask for that other one? What are you supposed to say then?
What if she what?
If she did ask for that other muffin and no, you can't have that because you just said that's not the right thing to do, but what are you supposed to say instead?
You have to explain to her that you had enough.
Okay.
You had enough. You can always have more, but right now it's like it was 2. Or the best thing to do is before you start giving them treats, you tell them you're only getting 2. Because if you don't, then there's no like, she's going to be like, why can I not have another one? Yeah. Then if you use the wrong wording and they say like the English language is a spell, you're casting a spell. So in their subconscious mind, you're putting in their head that like, hey, I can't have everything in life. So when it comes to getting that degree, she's going to remember Daddy saying, you can't have everything. I remember things my dad said that affect me as a 31-year-old man. Yeah. Like in my latest relationship, like I realized there was a lot of insecurities I had based on my appearance. Right. Because my dad used to always say like, everything your mom gave me, that stomach only gave shit. It only gave us crap. So like you navigate in life thinking like, oh, I'm not good enough. Yeah. Like I'm known as one of the GOATs in the fitness industry in my city. But then after it's like at one point, this whole transition of me closing the gym and everything, I thought I wasn't good enough to pursue my career in fitness. I'm like, fitness is done for me. But in reality, it's like, no, it's your limiting beliefs that are making you believe that. Yeah. So it's very important with your children the way you talk to them. Yeah. So now when I pull the kids, I'm like, listen, like you have to understand, it's Summer's turn now. Cairo, you're going to have to wait. Yeah. You gotta wait, and you gotta let people get their turn. You don't be envious, don't be jealous. But if you're always giving attention, it's little things like that. But you have to talk to them as adults, and they look at you and like they get it.
I think that like because you don't remember those, especially at 2 or 3. I'm sure like they might remember a few things, but you don't remember those specific conversations. But like the way you're explaining it now, I'm like I remember instances when I was probably like Summer's age or a little bit older that my dad spoke to me like. My dad's things is never give up, like ever. That is
and
my
stays
dad's
ingrained in
your
shit.
My never give up. My work ethic is my dad, and having anything I want in life, that's my dad. My dad is like the most. You know how I am when it comes to just like traveling and just doing.
He's the one that tells you this is the only time you can travel. Run it up.
My dad's like, no, you literally need to do whatever makes you happy.
Do it.
Tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah.
And he told me that when I was like, I went to Ibiza when I was 18 by myself.
That's
my dad's like, hell yeah, go. Like, turn your location on and make sure you're okay. Send me like license plate of the taxi, like license plate numbers. You're good. Have fun. Wow. Like, go wherever you want. Go to Miami by yourself. I'm 16, 17 in Florida by myself. I'm like, hey.
And you get it out your system. It's a beautiful thing. Like, I want that for my daughter.
I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm, like, still traveling all the time. I'm like, but, like, Bali. Yeah. So, it's just different now. But, like, my dad always told me that, like, and you never know when your day is going to come. Like, the only person who knows that's God. God knows when your day is going to come. It's written out. Yeah. You can't avoid it. So, do your thing. Live life. 100%. And it's what's the best thing
but
for
it's
you.
Those little things, like you don't remember those conversations, but they stayed in your subconscious mind.
Subconscious,
you have your conscious, subconscious, and that's the thing. A lot of parents don't want to do the work because subconsciously, like they're unaware. Yeah. They never tapped into to like transferring their consciousness into their subconscious to realize like, oh, I'm not even aware I do these things. I'm not listening to the perspective of someone that's not judging me, but criticizing me that in a constructive way. But people just take it as an attack.
Work. That's why.
Yeah,
like the lazy way out is like we just said is just doing.
You just ignore it. Yeah. You're in denial. You blame everyone.
Did you find that you had to? Okay, it brings it slightly to another question. But did you ever have to do those have those conversations with the moms of your kids that you guys are going to parent the same way? Perhaps like do the moms of your children treat your kids the same way you just explained to me? I'd love to know that because I'm like, what if in one household they're learning these best amazing ways from you, and maybe they are doing the same thing in the other house, and we don't have to go into their households necessarily. Yeah. But did you ever have those conversations like, this is how we're going to parent our kids? This is how I want my kids raised. Like, do we have those conversations as parents? Like, how does that work?
Yo, honestly,
especially parents who co-parent in different homes.
Yeah, because I'm co-parenting. Honestly, unfortunately. It's not a hard question. It's a straight answer. It's like, no, we haven't had those conversations because I'll be honest with you. When you co-parent, and this is my perspective, when you co-parent, you kind of understand that you can't control what's going on in that house.
Absolutely.
And I'm at a point where it's like, you have to be okay with the fact that like, hey, there's another man around your son or your daughter. What do you want to do? What, you're going to go and kick the door and just act like ratchet? Which I could, but I'm like, why would I do that?
So you just have to teach them even better.
It's just like I control, like, and your kids know it. They know it. Like, oh, I'm at daddy's house. Ooh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I could do this. Oh, daddy picks us up and then we go to iSoda to the restaurant. Okay, I know. Like, this is regular. Like, this is dope. Oh, at mommy's house, they pick me up. I go to daycare. I come back home. I go to, like, they know the dynamics. So I don't really, I'm just really about like, yo, whatever you do. I think that's the best way of being in a healthy co-parenting situation is like, I trust you enough to parent the way you want to parent. I may have my perspective and my opinion on it, but what is it going to change for me to share that? It's just going to bring up negative energy and you're going to feel attacked or vice versa. And it's like, why would I do that?
Parenting styles is very touchy, like how people do it. So
I'm just like,
as like a laissez-faire approach type.
What? Le lâcher prise. So you just let go and let God. Like, I trust God. I trust the universe. I trust that, you know what? I trust that my influence is so strong, and I know it is.
That's what I was about to say.
I know my influence is so strong, so it's like I'm not worried. But at the same time, like my kids come over, and I'm like, okay, you got that from your mom's house, or that fam. That habit comes from there. Like my daughter has a few habits where I'm like, oh, I see where it comes from, and like I'm sure when they go there, she's like, oh, they got that from their dad. So it's like, just the way to be happy is just let it go, and let God. You know what I mean?
Because you can trust enough in your own ability and your own instincts and what you're teaching your kids.
Yeah,
I'm
100%.
sure that you're doing it the right way because you're teaching them to be very mature, like indulging, of course, in their childhood. You're not making them grow up, but like,
no.
just like you said, the way you speak to them, the habits that you teach them, the discipline that you teach them in the healthiest way.
100%.
And they're just gonna think back and they're like, that's what dad taught me. Like,
Exactly.
and like the things that I remember my dad teaching me, and the amazing. I just speak about my dad a bit more because I post him on social media. My mom has taught me the most amazing things. My mom is the sweetest, kindest, most amazing mom. But yeah, so it's like you said, it's like a bit of a laissez-faire approach and just trusting in your own instincts, your own capabilities of what you taught your 100%.
kid. 100%. You have to have confidence in your parenting skills.
Okay.
The same way you have to have confidence in like speaking in front of an audience or posting that reel on Instagram.
It's a skill that's learned.
Yeah, and
similar
like,
to those things that you just mentioned.
100%. I feel like I had to learn a lot of the things where I did not react the right way. Like example, my daughter, when her mom started bringing another man around my daughter, I was like, yo, I gotta meet this guy. Yeah, I gotta meet this guy and I gotta shake his hand and I gotta make sure that he knows what time it is and this and that. And then at one point, like we're in Miami and like that's one thing that sparked them to move back. It's like I'm there, we're arguing and this guy's arguing about how he needs his weekends and he needs to enjoy whatever as if like he's a full-time dad type of shit. And I'm like,
you're a part-time stepdad.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, you don't even live with the broad. But anyways, I look at him and I'm like, yo, I'll break your jaw. Like we're in the middle of Florida. Like there's people are coming. Yeah, people are coming outside. They're like, yo, and I'm like, yo, I'll break your fucking jaw. And then that was me not being emotionally intelligent enough to navigate through that situation in the right way. I did that in front of my kids, and at the same time, it's like I just made myself look bad. So making that mistake exactly. I was trying to control things when I should have just accepted that I can't control who she brings around. The minute that I hear that, oh, someone touched your daughter or the boyfriend that she brought around did something, then guns are blazing. Let's go. But at the same time, I'm like, I got to let go and let God. Trust enough that God is watching over my children and they're safe. But now my son will come to the house and he starts saying some guy's name and I'm just like, I bet. I'm not going to go and be like, who's this person? Who you bring around my son? I trust enough that you're mature enough and you're smart enough to bring someone that's going to stick around, because if they don't stick around, whatever
your own kid.
You're harming our kid, and like I'm going to help you deal with it in the long run, but just know, like me personally, I have a hard time.
Be selfish. You have to be acting on behalf of your child.
Your child. Like right now, do you not think there's so many girls I want to see and invite them at my place or whatever? I have my kids every weekend, 3 weekends out of 4. It's like the time where people can hang out, and it's like, am I really going to bring someone over? Like maybe if the kids are asleep and you're not gonna see them, but at one point it's like, you remember one of the podcasts, I'm like, my rule is 2 years.
I know that, that has stuck with me.
And then I spoke to a shorty, like I was talking to a shorty for like 3 hours on the phone. She's like, yo, 2 years is a bit excessive. She's like, I haven't
even been with Medi for 2 years.
Yeah, and she's like, yo, listen, I have a 4-year-old and I think 6 months to a year is fine. I'm like, a year. Let's do a year.
The further
but the thing is that if you have kids, and that's a bit different, because my rule is just like, okay, no PDA in front of the kids. So like there's girls that I talk to that like we're supposed to set up like a play date. We'll set up a play date, but it's like, okay, we're not kissing, we're not hooking up, nothing. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is daddy's friend that has kids, and you guys come and play.
Yeah, look how fun this is.
Look how fun this is. And then when you guys are asleep,
they brought candy too.
Shit, it's about to be a movie type of thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just think it's really like it's conscious parenting. It's being aware of what you're doing and not being selfish, like you said.
Yeah, it's I couldn't imagine, like, it's being a parent, like, selfish in the sense that you have to pour into your own cup, of course, but also selfless in the fact that your life is this kid now, right?
100%.
Like, that's how it works, or that's how I guess good parenting works. Like if
good parenting,
yeah, and it's challenging.
You'll be surprised. It's not really like that. Like there's a lot,
you know. You balancing too.
They say, you know how they say like being a father is not just like knocking someone up. Like it's not just like, oh, I bust a nut, now I'm a dad. Like being a father is like a role. Like what I'm doing with my kids, I'm really like, I train them, I show them how to box, I spend time with them, quality time from sun up to sundown with them. And it's like I drive across town, like I provide for my kids, you know what I mean? But technically that makes me a father, because I didn't just bust a nut and then I'm just like, oh, I got kids somewhere. But also one thing that we don't speak about, it's not because you carried a child and you have the title of being a mother that you're actually a mother.
Right.
It takes way more than that. It's way more profound than that. And when I speak to women that are in co-parenting situations and like I compare situations, I'm like, you know, it's I don't want to get into it too much, but it's like, it's deep how a lot of people are just like, I'm a mama bear because I have a kid. All right. Like, whatever. Drink, by the way? That's so far. Are you serious?
My water's almost done. Mine's the pink one.
There you go.
No, but I think that's really important to mention. And I like that you bring that up because we mentioned in the previous episode of just about actively working towards things.
100%.
And it's like you can't, it's like actively versus passively, proactively versus reactively. Like you can correct me for this whole episode when I'm wrong, because it's just what I've seen and it's how I've interpreted my parents' parenting towards me. But it was always that active, proactive approach, like let's get ahead of it instead of reactively working against it. Like the way that you talk to your kids, it's like, I'm going to explain this to you now, how to just behave properly or behave the way I'd like you to, instead of laissez-faire approach in that sense of letting the kids do what they want and then reactively being like, no, when they're, it's so important to start that young.
Yeah, because a lot of people,
the parenting styles, like that's why I brought that
up.
A
lot of people, like, I'll give you an example because we are talking about interracial parenting. A lot of people believe because my kid is like 2, 3, or 4, they're not smart enough or they're not wise enough to grasp what I'm trying to say when I'm talking to them exactly how I'm talking to you. But that's how I talk to my kids. Like, I'm not like the goo goo gaga type of shit. Like, I'm really like, yo, listen, Cairo, like what you just did to your sister, punching her right now, that's a no. You protect your sister and you show that you protect your family and you stand up for your sister. Like, I'm teaching you how to be a tough guy. You're going to be a tough guy, and it's to protect her because she'll need you when someone harms her. And, like, he looks at me and, like, he gets it. And then I'm like, now say sorry. And he's like, sorry. And then he gives her a hug, gives her a kiss. And you see the resistance. He's like, you just pissed me off. Like, I love you type shit. And then he gives her a hug. Yeah, we family type shit. And, but, like, for example, like, these conversations are so important. It's like, sometimes I feel like, is he really getting it? But I'm like, the mind is so powerful that I know it's registered. Even though it's not registered in the moment, you grow up and you're like, yo, I remember things when I was 4 and I'm 31. I'm like, I remember when I was 4 and my dad said this. Yeah. It's stuck. So now, like, for example, my son, he's turning 2 next month. His hair wasn't fully grown out. It was still like the hair follicles are coming through. He had like a little McDonald like fucking hairline. Like it needed to grow in. Yeah. So for me growing up and being black, it's like, and a lot of black people will vouch in the comments and whatever, we are very insecure growing up because of our hair. Yeah. Especially like me having Haitian parents, we came to Canada and it was always like, no, I don't want you to speak Creole. I want you to speak French because you got to please the white man. Yeah. I want you to cut your hair low and clean because it looks more professional. Like, instead of embracing the fact that braids are a part of our culture, dreads are a part of our culture, like an afro, like whatever, which are beautiful things. So when my son and like my daughter, she has beautiful long hair. Her mom takes care of her hair. Like,
so do you.
Yeah, I take real good care of her hair. And
because of all these things that you're saying.
Because of all these things that I went through, because I want them to understand. And when I'm doing their curls, I'm like, baby, we're doing your curls because your curls are beautiful. This is your crown. You walk around and this is how people identify you as something special. I'm like, don't let anyone ever touch your hair or make you feel like it's not pretty. And she's like, no, she loves it. She goes crazy. And then when you see the videos, like you could go on my highlights, when she's done her hair, she's like, gee, she's feeling herself. So with my son, it's the same thing. Like, but his mom was complaining that, oh, I can't get his hair done in the morning. He's just like, he doesn't want me to touch his hair. He doesn't want me to do this. So then I go to daycare and his hair is cut. Nobody called me. Nobody spoke to me. We didn't have that conversation. First, I'm a barber. Yeah. I could cut hair. So his hair is cut. And I didn't even recognize my son walking in. Yeah. I opened the door and I'm like, oh, fuck. Did she not know I'm picking him up today? And then I look and then he always rushes me. And he just rushes me, and I'm like, who the fuck is this kid? And I'm like, and the thing is that every time we see each other, it's like we have this long, tight hug where he's like, oh my God, I miss you. And I have the same thing. And I couldn't do it in that moment because I was just so shocked by the fact that, how'd you cut? Like, this is so, it broke my heart because I'm like, we have a bonding moment. If you come to my house on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, every morning, all 3 of us, I'm sitting on the toilet bowl, and I'm just doing their hair. Yeah. And we're just there and like, okay, guys, Put your hand in the leave-in. Okay, stroke your curls. Say my curls are beautiful, this, that. And then we're doing it together and they're excited. My son like launches his head at me. So I couldn't grasp the fact that she was like, oh, it's hard. I can't go and start my day without crying because it was so hard. I'm like, I get it. It's tough. But you decided to have a black child. Yeah. It's a part of us. Our hair, our heart, it's hard to manage. It takes a lot of nurturing and love and care. It's not like Caucasian hair where it's like, I know you guys do a lot with your hair, but it's like you could throw it in a bun and it's like, there's not that much to do.
It's really not.
Like right now, if I don't hydrate my hair in the morning.
Because there's also like, you have to like, for Caucasian hair, it's there's no like actively protecting your hair too. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's protective styles for black hair. Like there's
protective styles. You need to wrap your head with a do-rag and everything.
Educate yourself.
And also.
It's a lot of work, but worth it, obviously. And it's just like, it's important to.
But it's like going back to the whole education part. And it's like in our relationship, like I had long hair. You remember when I left, I had the fro and everything. So I was moisturizing my hair a lot. She was braiding my hair. So it was like.
I braided my ex's hair, yeah.
It's like you understood what it took, but it's like, at that moment, I just felt like it was very selfish and she didn't think. And then she was telling me, she was just like, oh, it's something we could tell him when he grows up, when he gets older. But it's like, nah. We need to put that in his mind now. So he still has a little bit of curls. I still put in the work, but every time I see his hair, I'm like, he looks cute. He looks amazing. But I'm like, that's not cool. Because imagine if he would have loved having it's like if you had a bun or he had like braids, maybe he would like that more or whatever. And he didn't get the chance to discover that at a young age.
And also just they're not talking to you about it. You're just
me, it's like, but at the same time, I'm like, I had to.
The first one.
This is where.
100%.
It was foul. But this is where it let go and let God and let go of having control because that's me also wanting to have control because.
Can't bring it back until it just grows.
Just grows and like I do it next. But at this point, I'm like, he's comfortable. He already sat down in a chair where maybe he's comfortable because it's a whole process. It's like, do you go to any hairstylist to get color done, a balayage or whatever? That one person that you trust. My barber is like, before I cut my own hair, because I cut my own hair now, there's that one barber I need to go to. Every time I started bouncing around, my shit's pushed back. Like, I look ridiculous. So, I feel like my son already created a bond at that new barbershop, so why would I take that away from him? Even though I know he would be super comfortable with me, but it's a whole new process.
Do you find, we'll get back to parenting in 1 second, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you find that, because you mentioned about Summer, and when you're telling her about her curls, and when you were growing up and your parents moved here, how you had to speak and how your hair had to be whatever when you came to Canada, when you came to Quebec. When you were in Miami, did you find it just because there's such a small black community where you are right now, like in your life, that
but in Miami it was
when you were a kid growing up, that you're the community that your parents were in, and then you felt more comfortable to have your braid up, to have your cornrows, to have your afro.
I was at home. It was just like, and my partner at the time would see it. She's like, yo, you really feel good here because there's black people everywhere. You like, I used to be that kid that I'd have my braids and I'm like, oh my God, like they probably think this of me and that. But there it's like, no, like the CEO got braids, he got dreads, he got this. So it felt really good. And I was happy that my kids were growing up in that environment too. Yeah. So having to come back to Quebec, I was like, oh my God, here we go again.
Run it back. So in terms of parenting and parenting your kids, so we tapped into like challenges, but like, what do you find, I guess, besides like parenting styles, what have you found, like, have you actively got into like, not necessarily a disagreement, but like, what was your biggest like tiff, I guess, or resistance, like when your partner got pregnant, or either of them, did you like learn anything from the first one that you wanted to go into the second one, or like did anything carry through?
I just feel like, you know what, and this is something I need to not let go of, but it's a rule that doesn't apply to everyone, and I need to not put everyone in that boat, like every girl that's like not black in that boat. But with my first partner, I felt like there was a lot of ignorance because she grew up in a country hillbilly type, like all white people, like, you know what I mean? Like, so the whole thing, like, I said a reference in the last episode, but I was actually talking about my daughter. It's like the whole touching the hair thing. It was like, it wasn't somebody else. It was like, yeah. And I saw that in the app, and I'm like,
in this story.
And I'm like, yo, don't you think that's a bit odd? She's like, no, kids don't know color. And I'm like, okay, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but they're not supposed to, like, they're not playing with the other white kids' hair.
Exactly.
So it's like, no, that's not cool. And like, hands are dirty.
White kids have to face anyway.
Yeah, it's like, no, she's not a puppet. She's not a dog. So whatever. But I thought that, especially my partner, my last partner, seeing what I went through in that first relationship, be aware of like, okay, racism and being black and this and that. But one of our biggest arguments was always about, do you know what it is going through this as a black man? Do you understand this? Do you understand that? Do you understand this? And I think that's the biggest challenge, because sometimes someone presents themselves as knowing and being like, it's easy to say like, oh, I get it, I agree, yo, you're absolutely right, or just to make things interesting, like throw that point that you think is valid. But then at the same time, when it comes to action, and that's why we say action speaks louder than words, it's that's the biggest challenge, that I thought that you get it, but you actually don't, and it's ignorance. But it only stays ignorance. It's only ignorance once you change it. Right. You know, at that point, when you don't change it, you don't seek the knowledge, then you're just that type of person. I can say you're like, maybe you're unaware that you have you're racist, or you're unaware that you're not interested in black people, or what they go through, right. Or like, now this is your seed. Well, that's exactly this is your seed. It's not even about me no more. Like, cut me out. I'm not complaining no more and busting your ears, and you got to shut me up and gaslight me. Now you got to really, yo, this is your son. Your son, when he gets pulled over, he's black. Yeah. When he's getting pulled over, he's not the European, Colombian white boy. Like, he's black. Yeah. They see melanin. Like, when he's walking into a store, he's not white, he's black. Yeah. When he's climbing that corporate ladder, he's not white, he's black. And that's one thing that people don't understand in black interracial relationships, is that no matter what, yes, in the world, the dominant race, the dominant this, the I think you said in our last episode, the foundation, like of
the baseline,
of
Western society.
The baseline of Western society is white. Yeah. But when it comes to the things that that could change your life and create the biggest traumas, like going to jail, getting arrested, getting roughed up by the cops, being called names, whatever.
Trauma, toxicity, just like all those.
Being black is dominant. Like, we're very oppressed. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you need to just educate yourself so you can protect that kid, because your privilege could do a lot of protection to that child.
Absolutely.
Only if you educate yourself. But if you turn your eye and you're just like, oh, I'll just shave his head because I don't want to deal with it, or I'll just do this because I don't want to deal with it, like, you're already setting up a pattern that's horrible.
That's where it applies to this too. It's like in a relationship as well as having a kid, I'm assuming, but empathizing versus sympathizing. Yeah. You could literally chalk that up to so many things. It's like, you have to be aware and understanding of the fact that I can sympathize with what you're saying, in the sense as an outsider to your culture, to this different skin tone, to these things, to these different challenges that you're going to face. As an outsider, I can sympathize with you and say, I'm here for you. What do you need? What can I do? But I can never empathize with you in the sense that, like, I can't feel those same emotions. And like you said, there's no way around it. It's like, for those good things in life, for the bad things in life, it's like, your child is half black.
But see, to go back to the sympathizing and empathizing, like, I get it. You sympathize and you're like, okay, I sympathize with you, whatever. But it takes, and the empathizing is like, okay.
I've never gone through it.
Yeah, it's like, I've never gone through it, but like, and I can't feel it, but whatever. But it's your job to understand
but that's what I'm
the
saying.
Same way we see things on the news and we're like, oh my God, these children are literally dying and this is going on and this girl got raped and it was unfair. You could feel like, oh my God, if it happened to me. That's all you need to do. Yeah. Put yourself in some fucking black shoes. That's it.
Is that, I never could, and I would never want. I would never be able to. Like, it's in theory, that's good to say. Like, I'm like, oh, imagine I was black and I had to deal with that every day. But let me just go outside and walk freely past the cops and do this. Like, I can never. And like, that's what people understand. Like, you want people to be like, you want white people, you want white parents to be like, oh, if I was black, I would do this.
But white people, I don't expect it. It's more white parents to a melanated child.
But that's what I'm just speaking in this. Like, it applies. I just don't want to put myself in a parent's shoes. But in my opinion, I don't think it's even ever going to do to, like, even expect that, because, like, it's still never going to be the same thing. No, I could be like, I'm going to put my feet in a black parent's shoes, whatever. But like then again, I just get to walk out and I'm still the white parent.
Yeah, you're still the white
I still
parent.
never have to face any of those things. And to be able to be like, if you think that you're able to walk in a black person's shoes or put myself into those shoes, like you just said, then I think that creates a little bit more ignorance because it's like, oh, like, no, I know what you mean. But I don't know what you mean.
I don't know what you mean.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
facts.
And I never will. And I don't want myself to ever think that I can because I never can. I will never have to face that. Yeah. Until I'm dating someone or I have a child, that's when I have to put myself into those situations where let me go to when I'm in Miami, where you go to Little Havana. And when I'm in the city, I go to like Park X. I go to these places that, like, yes, even though my house is in Beaconsfield, let me go to that karate class that is literally
in the trenches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let me bring my kid to Amabe. Let me go to these places that, like, I'm not necessarily comfortable just because I didn't grow up there. Like, I'm not even comfortable going to Saint-Hyacinthe. I didn't grow up there.
Yeah.
Just your community. I grew up in Beaconsfield. Let me go to those other places and make it more comfortable for my child. And
100%.
make me uncomfortable. And I'm going to have to sit there like this during soccer
Take
practice.
it in because you took that responsibility.
Yeah, that's exactly 100%. What I'm saying. Like,
but that's why we were talking last time when we were planning everything. And there's that girl on Instagram. I don't know what her name is, but God bless her. Yeah. Beautiful white girl. She's thick. She's fit. She's beautiful.
She posts on Instagram like reels being like training my son to be a D1 athlete.
Yeah.
Like, she'll pop. Now that I said it on your phone, it's somehow going to pop up. But it's like a joke. But her son's like,
and he's going in. And that's the thing is that when I saw her doing his braid ups, and it wasn't one video, it's like a series, and she's there leaving. Boom, hair's always done. She's a single white mom. The dad is not around.
Someone commented that. They were like, oh,
why doesn't his dad do the hair? And I think
as a matter of fact, I'm a single mom and I do it myself.
Straight up. And you could tell that she decided to learn. And like, that's why I always fuck with the white women that are just like, sometimes it's like, yeah, it's a bit like, oh, you're learning how to do our hair and then you rock our hairstyles. It's like, don't go too far. But it's like when you actually understand how to take care of. For everyone. It's but when you understand.
Like black girls out there with blonde, pin straight.
Yeah, but see, you know where that comes from?
Wigs are white.
Yeah, but but that's what I'm saying. Okay, yeah. But that's exactly, you know where that comes from? It comes from the fact that they're actually trying to please the white. Like, they're trying to, it's like European beauty. Yeah. Okay. That's the standard instead of embracing your curls. I am more attracted to the black women with natural hair. When a girl has a fucking huge fro and it's like she got her head wrap and she's just, or even there's this girl in New York that I talked to and she's beautiful and she has this little like, her hair's as short as me and she like slicks it back and I'm just like, yo, she's fucking fire. And it's like, that's the thing. I when I see a girl with a whole weave and everything, I'm just like, you look good, but I'm like, but that's white hair. Yeah. It's like Indian hair or whatever. It's like, that's not your hair.
But it's like super blonde.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a bit too much for me. Like, that's a bit too much for me. But it's like that's our
beautiful. Like,
but that's our limiting beliefs of thinking that our hair is beautiful. So
it's not beautiful.
It's not beautiful. Yeah. Exactly. It's like it's a limiting belief. They think, oh, okay, you know what? Like, my hair is not good enough. I need to get extensions and pay $500 for a bundle. It looks good.
You know what? This is probably common sense, but the blonde hair at the my girl and I used to go to Mama Africa. When should we get her sew-in? But it's a blonde sew-in and it's like 10 times more expensive. But like black girls are getting it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And it looks phenomenal. It looks great on everyone.
It looks great on everyone, but I just think like it runs back to limiting belief. It's like me. I used to always have a low fade like I have right now, a skin fade and whatever, because my parents always said you can't grow your hair. It's for delinquents.
Does that like a hair question? But like cutting a kid's hair like when you did it when you were younger, does that affect your hair as an adult or no? It just grows out. You cut it, it just grows out the same way.
No,
it comes from the inside. So.
It comes from the inside. I don't think I think it just, if anything, no.
It's just the style. Okay.
It's just a style. It was just whatever. Okay. But it does affect you like emotionally. Yeah. It does. Like I remember seeing those cool black kids with the parents that were more open and like they had braids and they had dreads and they had everything you wanted, but like you couldn't have that.
But like in your parents' defense, like
they were just afraid.
I know, and I'm sure they were just doing it in a way to, in the short run, just to make your life easier.
Yeah, but it didn't. It didn't.
In the long run, it didn't.
In the long run, it didn't.
In the short run, it's like, okay, I get up, I don't have to do anything to my hair.
But it didn't change anything because I still grew up. I still got up and I was as black as I was yesterday.
No, 100%.
So you know, it's like I might as well just embody the whole thing, and that's how I feel when you have interracial children. Like, yo, you have a half black kid. Like, make sure that you let him embody his curls. I don't care how messy it gets. I don't care how hard it is. Let him embody that.
Yeah.
Like, as much as you think he's unaware, he is aware. Because I'm telling you, my son is so excited to do his hair. And now he kind of, shit, it's not as long as, yeah, it's like, how come you already done with me? And then I start doing summer. Summer takes more time. And he's like, and then he's getting mad because he's like, how come you're not doing my hair, cuz? And I'm like, well, go talk to your mom, boy. It's not me. You know what I mean? So it's just like, understand, especially as a white mom or a white dad, you have that privilege to protect your mixed child. You have that privilege to actually step up, and like it's your responsibility. Like, if you sign up, like, and that's when we go back to fetishes and this and that, and it's like, it's sad that that's a real thing, but we need to shed awareness on that. Like, yo, wake up, go read some fucking books, go and do research on Google. The information is in the palm of your hands. Don't wait until something drastic happens where your son gets a gun pointed in his face. Like, I had feds put a gun in my face. I'm unarmed. I didn't do any, like, I did do something, but like, I'm unarmed. Not that warrants a gun. Like, I'm literally half naked. I step out, you know, I don't have a strap. Put a gun in, and I'm looking down a barrel of a gun, and it's a white man on the other side. It's like, I don't want my son to ever go through that. That's why I'm teaching him boxing, because it teaches you discipline, to be calm. I'm teaching him to wait after his sister so he could be patient. Because in certain scenarios in your life, growing up as a kid, I was impatient, I was impulsive. It put me in bad situations, it put me behind bars. I don't want that for my son. And my son has a higher chance of ending up behind bars compared to if you would have a child with a Caucasian man. Or even having a child with Mehdi, he's not going to be as, you know, like, the chances of my son ending up in jail are higher than yours. So it's like, yo, do the work. It takes two to tango. I could do the work, and once again, my influence is very strong. I'm very confident in my influence towards my kids, but it would always help if the other person would be aware as well. Right. So I think it's important for interracial parents to just, wake the fuck up. Pause.
Period. I mean.
Period.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah. That's
okay. So I really wanted to bring up, now that you've explained to us about a lot of the struggles, because, well, as we know, parenting is just hard for anyone. So just adding that extra barrier of, one, co-parenting and being a single father is just an extra thing. And then you're raising mixed babies with different moms and balancing everything and making sure they have the best life they can. Raising, like we talked about, the next generation. All of it's a struggle. But what do you find is the beauty you found in it? Like, it's a blessing, I'm sure, having that your kids be exposed. Like, it's kind of boring, if you ask me, to have two white parents. Like, I love them both, but like, there's no like sauce to it.
There's no spice, y'all.
You know what I mean?
Salt and pepper.
No, okay, wait, you've eaten at my house. It's
yeah,
good,
no,
it's
you
good,
know, it's fire.
But what I'm saying is that, like, there is, of course, there's beauty in all families.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, to have that, like, that spice, that extra that you guys get to have, it's like, it is a blessing. It's beautiful.
Yo, I think it's really beautiful, like, especially, like, because my daughter's mom, she's like a quarter black, so she's essentially very white, but she just, the melon. Yeah, she's just a quarter black, so she's mostly Quebecer, but so there's not really any cultural.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like sirop d'érable, you know what I mean? But my son being half Colombian. Yeah, pâté chinois. My son being half Colombian, though, it's like, I love it because I got my Duolingo on deck. So it's like, I be practicing, like, Spanish with him. So, like, come in, he's like, agua. And then it's like, okay, yo, how can I talk to the little man? All right, bet. And I used to take classes when I was in Miami. I had a tutor, and I'm going to get back to that, too.
You have a tutor.
I had a Spanish tutor for like a good 2-3 months, and then after, like, I was like, when I train my clients, it just comes out naturally. I'm like, eso, okay, boom, and I just like,
what does that mean?
Eso is like go, like, put in work type thing. And I used to love, I used to love to scream at, like, a bunch of Colombian Cubans, and I'm like, eso, 2 more, 2, 3, eso, and it's like whatever. But I think what's cool about having being in an interracial co-parenting situation is that, like, with my son, I know a few things about his mother's culture. Like, when I used to be with his mom every week, and I used to get those empanadas. Oh. Yeah, those empanadas were my thing.
Making those?
I'm not making them, but I think that would be cool that I start making it with him.
Do with him, yeah.
Exactly. So
and it just shows dad, like, appreciates mom's culture. Like, it means a lot.
But I do appreciate. Like, I do appreciate the Hispanic.
I'm just saying, like, it makes it concrete for the kid. Like, I know you do, but I'm just saying, like,
100%.
It's a very.
I won't lie to you. I was very resentful. I was very resentful when I saw that in our relationship, there was no investment in my culture.
Right.
And maybe it's the fact that I'm still learning a lot and I'm still new to my culture. But like, you know, like I picked up books about like that it's like Creole stories. They're speaking Creole. They're speaking my native tongue. And, you know, I learned Spanish with my son. I get the empanadas and like I do my best to like if he says something in Spanish, I'll say it. I have a song, like that's what I do to mix to have that good spice. See, I'm Haitian and a lot of Haitians like sometimes immigrate to Dominican Republic or vice versa, or like even Cuba. And even Cuba's not too far. So there's a little bit of Hispanic culture from where I'm from. So I could just go on Spotify and there's something called Compa Vana. So like Havana, Compa is our style of music. So they meshed Cuban music with Haitian music. So it's like I get the best of both worlds right there. There's like a song that's called Puela.
Small things like this.
Small things like that. So on Sundays, if I'm cooking or whatever,
that's what's on.
I put Google Home, Puela, and then my son's like, Puela, Puela. Yeah, you did.
Hey,
and he's like, Puela, Puela. And then he's like saying the words. And then there's like Haitian, like, there's like Creole words that come up. And then I could repeat them and they try to say it. My daughter's the best though. My daughter will hear me say something in Creole. And then she laughs because she's like, hey, that's weird. I never heard that. Yeah. But she'll repeat it instantly. And I say, hey, you're Haitian. This is where it's from. Or like we'll be eating spicy. And I'm like, hey, girl, don't complain. You're Haitian. You can eat spicy. Yeah. She goes back to her mom's house and her mom texts me and she's like, yo, funny thing. Like,
why is she asking for Tabasco?
Yeah, literally. She's asking me for something spicy because she says she's Haitian and she can handle it. I'm like, damn right. That's my daughter right there. So, but the best way for me to really navigate having an interracial child. So like, I'm not just going to stand on the fact that he's half black. He is Colombian. He is Hispanic. Yeah. So I do try to focus. Like the best way I do it is Duolingo. The music is my best tool because then after it's like
and culture
exactly
and
the dancing
vibes.
Is very similar to compa. So like I'm not not that I'm not a great dancer. I'm a shy dancer.
I know you are.
I think I'm a pretty good dancer, but I'm shy. So but with my kids though, it's done. Like I'm out there breaking hips, stepping, bop. Bop, and I'm like suavemente.
Like, I know I'm better than you guys, so I can show you.
100%. They look at me like, yo, this guy's lit.
This guy's good.
you know,
hey, go daddy,
you know?
Go daddy.
So I think that's the best way, and I think,
and
even for any interracial parent, if you're, because I get it, maybe you're anxious about learning about another culture. You don't know where to start.
But you also don't want to look stupid.
You don't want to look stupid, and you don't know where to start.
Not learning.
Exactly. You're better off falling on your face and looking stupid than just not doing anything.
I'm speaking on my own.
So it's like, yo, play compa music when my son's around, or play compa music when my daughter's around. I know my daughter's mom actually, like, she would play, like, Haitian cartoons. Yeah. She started picking up a Haitian cartoon and she would play, and she's like, oh, she watches this, and, like...
I think that a little bit of maybe the stereotype or the reluctance to do those things, because even, like, I feel like I see it online, even in comments sometimes, like, I've found that you never want to, like, as the person who's, like, learning the other person's culture, is that you never want to seem like you're, like, too much of a try-hard or things like that. Which, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I
think that's a little bit of the reluctance. If I'm like, oh, I'm doing Ramadan, like, it's like, okay, like,
calm
is that,
down.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for not making me feel stupid by saying that.
But anyways, hold on.
I don't feel stupid. But like when someone says that, it's like I'm at the club, for example, and like it's Ramadan time, and I'm like, I'm not drinking that month, for example. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, someone's like, hey, take a shot, and I'm like, no, I can't. It's Ramadan. It's like, pause. Like, who do you think you are, type thing? Like,
but that's
or you
just
think
like,
you're trying to copy, or you think you're like trying to be a part of that culture. Like if I'm like in the car playing like compa, for example.
Yeah.
Like, do I look like I'm just like, there's no kids in the back.
Yeah, you just fuck with the music.
Am I just like, do I look like a tryhard?
No, I don't think you look like a tryhard. I think it's beautiful that people like, you know what? I used to find it funny. It's funny you say that because I used to find it funny growing up when those white girls which like I have one of my clients.
Like reggae.
Listen, I have one of my clients. I love her, Sarita. Sarah. I love her to death. She's so funny. But one of my clients, literally, she speaks better Creole than I do. But she will and
what's her nationality?
She's Cuban and Quebecer.
Okay.
But she grew up in Montreal North in the trenches.
Shout out Sarita.
Yeah. So the thing is that she's always around. She grew up around a lot of Haitian girls and like grew up in their homes and whatever. And it's so funny because she doesn't realize, but I always answer in English or French because I'm shy. I could speak Creole, but I'm shy. Yeah. But let's say somebody walks in the gym and she's like, oh, this girl's like, she's a Karen, she's nosy, but she'll say it in Creole, and I'm just like, always like, damn, girl, it's just so. But when I was younger, I used to be like, what's wrong with these white people trying to learn Creole?
But that's what I'm saying.
Like dudes that go to the pen,
yeah.
like a lot of guys that go to the penitentiary, like I know a dude I grew up with. He went to the pen and then he came out the penitentiary and then, yo, this guy speaks fluent Creole.
Like, is that a bad thing?
It's beautiful. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Okay, so this is on record. Like, it's okay.
No, you have to.
Because, again, parenting situation in context and out of context, like, both of them, it's okay to be like that. Like, if I'm listening, like, Bad Bunny's very whitewashed, but, like, it's like I'm jamming to, like, Spanish, no clue what they're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm catching a vibe.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think it's a good thing. It's like,
you know?
But,
or I'd be like, I would be at the Karnak on Sources at, like, dance hall reggae parties when I was, like, 15, and I'm like, daggy, daggy, daggy.
Dirty whining and shit, breaking your neck. She's dead. But honestly, listen to this.
Remember that song? Daggy, daggy, daggy.
Yeah, no, not me. I know what you're talking about, not me. But listen, honestly, it's going back to our first episode where I say, you know, I kind of find that it kind of sucks that we have to learn English, we have to learn French, and we have to learn Spanish automatically. And then a lot of people comment and they're like, yo, it's Eurocentric, like that's how it is. And I get it, because you move to Miami, you move anywhere in the world, the three languages that that they will pick up 95% of the time is English, French, and Spanish. Yeah. Cool. I'm cool with that. But then it's like, it helps my argument when a white girl or a white guy or anybody wants to learn another language and embodies it. Yeah. Embodies it the right way.
Yeah.
Exactly, because it's like, oh, okay, at least now I complained about something and people are actually doing something about it, even 100%. Though it was way before I complained about it. It's just like, so now I don't laugh at people, or I don't feel like, oh, you're trying too much.
That makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I never thought that I was doing anything wrong, but I just wanted to bring up the reluctance to maybe some people learning, like some people can maybe resonate with what I'm saying, is that you never want to be like you're just appreciating the culture, and it kind of comes back to hair. Like people there's always that braiding controversy, but it's like, yes, it has to be done in the right context. You're not dressing up for Halloween like as a black person. You're not dressing for Halloween as Pocahontas. You're not dressing up for Halloween as a Moroccan dancer, whatever it may be. But like, if you just really like that's your style for the weekend and like or for the week, and you want to do a braid up or whatever it may be, like it's okay.
Look, personally, I never had an issue with that, but I understand where the trigger stems from, because you have to understand that
benefit from the culture.
It's like exactly you want to benefit, and not only that, like I could go right now deep into the fact of like girls getting lip injections. Not saying like you, but like in general, a lot of girls.
Call me up, like
my bad. I mean, girls getting lip injections are doing like, you know, now they want the features of black women, but they were shamed for the longest time. It's like, oh, look at her with her nigger lips, and like, yeah, oh, look at her with those fucking lips, and him with
dreamed that I wouldn't have to get a needle stuck in my lips and paid $900 for it.
You know what I mean?
Just be born with it.
But now it's like, yes, women, but like that, and that's why some black women or some black people are like, yo, why the fuck you now you repping? Yeah. Like at one point, I remember I got triggered at an expo. I saw a bunch of Asian mans with like cornrows, and they were black. But they were Asian, and I was just like, okay, cool. Like you guys fuck with the culture,
Asians
but then
can get down with the culture though. Asians, because
yes, they could.
Also, you're a minority, so I found that
they could, but you know,
white people do because we've benefited off it.
But hold on. Let me talk about Asian. Like I love my Asians, but like at the same time, like when I go into Asian depth, oof. Sometimes I find it worse than going into a white store. Really? The way you're, and I'm not saying the younger generation. Like I think every generation has evolved. Like you'll have the older generation that's like, why are you dealing with a white girl? But then the younger generation is like, hey, let's have mixed children and it's all good. But sometimes I remember I would get triggered when I would see someone with braids, and I'd be like, that belongs to us. Let us have it. Because you're judging us. You're not letting us rock the things that protect it. Like I can't wear a do-rag in class. I can't wear a do-rag at work. I can't wrap my head in a bonnet because I look unprofessional, or like I just rolled out of bed. So I get what the frustration comes from, because it's like the same girls that used to hate on us and not give us are the girls that now want to rock the braids and the big lips and everything. So it makes sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah.
I was about to say that, like, and again, I keep saying this, but correct me if I'm wrong, is that when it's another, I think it's just challenging when, and I don't want to reinstate stereotypes, that might be exactly what I'm doing, but I think it's challenging when white people do things just because I bring it back to colonization and stuff, and, like, you have to realize that, like, we've taken advantage and like opportunized, if that's a word, but like fully benefited off like whether that be slavery, land, literally everything. When it comes to that, especially in North America, especially in Europe and North America, Western civilization. So it's hard when white people do some things. And again, I'm not trying to perpetuate it because I do think it's okay if you want to listen to the music, rep the culture, like that's fine. But if you're going to be an ally and you want to use part of the culture, you're an ally for everything.
100%. You stand up. You don't remain silent when it's,
Absolutely. So when you brought up like Asian culture, I'm just like, that's another minority. So I'm like, I feel like it makes sense because you guys kind of have both gone through similar things, whether that's through immigration, through getting here. If you're from Vietnam and your parents took
I would say like I think the similarity is the immigration, but I wouldn't say similar things. Like I don't know Asian culture like that, but I'm like I don't think the oppression was the same.
But no, not at all. I'm just saying like even just taking.
I mean, in Western society, they are seen as that's a minority. So that I get it.
That's all I'm saying. The struggles are completely different, and I agree with that because you guys do not face the same daily struggles at all.
Zero.
But what I'm just saying is just like the journey to get here, the coming to America, the American dream, whatever that may be, the struggles to kind of come for a better life, because that was the goal for any party to come to the States 100%. Or Canada. The goal was always a better life, and to face those struggles when you get here, it's like, is this a better life? Like, I'm facing struggles, or just different struggles.
Yeah, straight up.
That is what it is. But just tying that all together, it's just that when it comes to white people taking any type of other person's culture, it just comes down to the fact of like, if you want to enjoy one part of the culture, you got to be ready to stand up and take responsibility 100%. For it all. And that's kind of what it comes down to, you know?
That's facts.
And on that note,
we out. Go ahead, do your thing, girl.
Okay, I started this. Okay, we're back. This is the second episode, season number 2. We got a new set, though. Also, pause. Get off your phone for a second.
Hold on. Who texted me? Who this? No, it isn't.
He's dealing with something right now. Anyway, new set, new studio, and we're wrapping it up right now. We're getting called. We're going over time. We had a lot of stuff to say today.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
Comment, like, subscribe. That shit's free. So do that right now. Do us a solid. We posted in between episodes of that we're back in the studio, and we got so much positive feedback.
Yeah, I'm so excited. This is a blessing. And thank God. Thank y'all.
The biggest thing is if you have anything you want us to talk about, like even if you want to like spark a little debate between us, if you know that we about to disagree about something, give us some topics. Subscribe, like, comment, subscribe to all of our
platforms.
Socials. Really, really, really important to us because we do want this to get in front of the right people, the people who need it, the people who want to hear us. Like we always say, there's something in this podcast for everyone, and that's like the pride that we take in it is you're going to get the perspective from literally every aspect of life. I grew up in the suburbs.
Trenches.
He's from the trenches. So you're going to get something a little bit.
I started in the suburbs, then it was like trench. Trench. Am I? No.
His area is beautiful. His new home is beautiful for his family.
Yeah.
But we love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are so excited to be back, and we love you so much. Bye.
Ciao. Yeah, that was beautiful.
We back, baby.
Yeah, 2 episodes in.